UFC Fight Night Holloway versus the Korean Zombie. Quick pick predictions. We're going to start from the bottom, make our way to the top, and just give you my predictions for every single one of the fights. Sungwoo Choi, Jarno Aaron. Sungwoo is a 2-1 favorite on a 3-fight losing streak. He is very tall, very lengthy, especially for this featherweight division, taking on Jarno Aaron, who is definitely UFC caliber with how close of a fight that William Gomi's fight is, but Sungwoo Choi easily could have beat Alex Caceres. He was on his way to, if he didn't get caught with that submission. Joshua Culibao, if he didn't get clipped a few of those times, he would have easily won those fights. And then Michael Strazado, they went to absolute war. It's just the fight IQ of Sungwoo Choi never really is there. When his fight IQ is there, he does very, very good and looks like a top 15 caliber guy in the UFC featherweight division. His fight IQ hasn't been there his past few fights. I believe this one is going to be a possible fight of the night contender in the UFC's featherweight division. I think Sungwoo Choi, being from Korea, this fight being in Singapore, he's probably going to be favored if it hits the judges' scorecards. Should be close, should be a war, should be fight of the night. Sungwoo Choi, 29-28. Decision. JJ Aldridge and Nali Yang. I think JJ's better pretty much everywhere, and I think she submits Nali Yang in round number 2 with a guillotine choke. Nali Yang is kind of kill or be killed in her fights. KO, TKO win. Armbar, joined the UFC, got knocked out twice. I think JJ's going to hurt her on the feet and then submit her on the ground, but minus 600 is crazy. There's a good chance Nali Yang could be the one that finishes JJ Aldridge, considering JJ has been submitted before herself inside of the UFC. Should be a fun one, though. Yusaku Kinoshita, Billy Goff. I do have Billy Goff winning this fight by TKO in round number 2. I think round 1, Yusaku's going to look like an absolute world beater and just dominate Billy Goff in round number 1. But Billy Goff, being the dog that he is going to come back in round number 2, pouring on that pressure and making it an absolute scrap, an absolute war. There will be blood flying. There will be hands and elbows thrown. And Billy Goff's going to get a good, solid crack on the chin of Yusaku, get the fight to the back, and ground and pound Yusaku Kinoshita for that round number 2 TKO. Rolando Bedoya and Kenan Song in the welterweight division. I think Rolando's kind of better everywhere because wrestling and grappling, neither guy is like super, super good, but Rolando's got a very long, lengthy arm, 75.2 inches, is pretty solid. He's very young. Had a really close fight with Chaos Williams in his UFC debut. He looked pretty good in that fight, if we're being honest there. Power is pretty even, but Rolando's got a really, really good chin, so I highly doubt Kenan Song is going to go out there and knock him out. This should be a fun one, but I do believe Rolando Bedoya will win 2 out of 3 rounds here for a very, 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 very fun fight in the welterweight division. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a robbery given to Kenan Song because he is from China and this fight is in Singapore. But Rolando is just younger, he's faster, he throws more volume, and the man's got a crazy chin. Rolando Bedoya by decision. Mikhail Oleszejczyk versus Chidi and Jokowani. I got round 1 being a little bit technical to start off, but then they're going to start throwing at the end of round number 1. Round 2 is going to be the same thing. They're just going to start throwing in round number 2 very, very hard. I think Chidi's going to rock Mikhail Oleszejczyk. Mikhail is going to rock Chidi and Jokowani. It's going to be 1-1 ending round number 2 and entering round number 3. And then I think Mikhail Oleszejczyk is going to get Chidi's gassed back to the cage. And Mikhail's just going to start throwing, unleashing combinations onto Chidi and Jokowani like he was able to do on Sam Alvey. And I do believe Mikhail Oleszejczyk will knock out Chidi Bang Bang in round number 3. Should be a banger, though, in the middleweight division. And even if Chidi loses this fight, he's 2-2 in the UFC, and every fight he's had, except for the Albert Araya fight, has been an absolute banger, so I would keep him in the UFC, even after a 3-fight losing streak. Where's the next one at? Toshiyomi Kazama and Garrett Armfield in the Bantamweight division. I'm sorry, Toshiyomi, I know you're from Japan, and you're making your second fight in the UFC. You fought a beast in your UFC debut, but you got knocked out pretty badly. I don't really like your chin all too much. You've been knocked out twice in your last 3 fights. I know Garrett's coming off a submission, lost to David Onama, but the dude has power in his hands and has crazy finishing ability. I believe this is going to be a scrap for as long as it lasts, but I think Garrett, like a lot of Toshiomi's opponents, is going to catch the chin of Toshiomi. It's going to be a very, very fun scrap for sure. Back and forth until eventually, bada bing, bada boom, Garrett Armfield catches the chin and knocks him out in round number 2. Lucas Brzezinski and Waldo Cortez Acosta in the heavyweight division. I do have this one going all the way, and I do have it being a 29-28 decision win for Waldo Cortez Acosta. Lucas is a very live underdog here. He got a really, really close fight with Martin Bedoya that a lot of people actually think he won inside of the UFC. Then he got dominated by Carl Williams, but these are so much different styles than a Waldo Cortez Acosta. If Lucas Brzezinski can keep the striking pretty even and mix in some wrestling and grappling of his own, this could be a relatively close fight in the UFC heavyweight division. But Waldo's a lot bigger, same height, same reach, and he's a better striker. I believe this is going to be a technical heavyweight striking match. Waldo by a decision. Junior Tafa, Parker Porter in the heavyweight division. This should be very, very fun. In the heavyweight division, they're going to swing. They're going to bang, baby. And I got Junior Tafa knocking out Parker Porter in round number 1. I believe they're going to bang in this fight. But just like Justin Tafa was able to do, Junior Tafa, I believe, is also going to be able to knock out the Oink Oink Parker Porter in round number 1. And I believe they're probably going to put Junior Tafa also on that UFC 293 card if he doesn't take a lot of damage, considering this fight is going to be August 26th. UFC 293 is going to be September 9th right there. So 2 weeks later, if he doesn't take a whole lot of damage, there's a lot of heavyweights that are willing to take fights on short notice. So why not put him on that card? I got Junior Tafa round 1 TKO. Aaron Blanchfield, Tyler Santos, a title eliminator pretty much in the UFC's flyweight division. Aaron is the better wrestler. Grappler? I don't know. Tyler Santos' jiu-jitsu and submission game is very, very legit, as we saw in the Valentina Shevchenko fight. I think this one's gonna, I don't think it's gonna be a domination on the ground by any means here between Tyler Santos and Aaron Blanchfield. And I know a lot of people are saying this is going to be a domination from Aaron Blanchfield. She's going to go out there, take down Tyler Santos, and just destroy her on the ground. I don't think so. I really don't think it's going to be that big of a domination. I do have Aaron winning very, very slightly by a 29-28 decision. But that's because I believe she's just going to mix in those takedowns. I think the striking is going to be very boring, very technical, very even on the feet. And then I think Aaron's going to mix in the takedowns, a little bit of ground and pound, work to get that crucifix position and land the ground and pound shots. And Tyler is going to be looking for submissions on the ground. She's going to be looking to land some big shots on the feet. It is going to be a split decision, in my opinion. It is going to be a fight that some people will call robbery. Some people will say that was a horrible decision. This one literally could come either way. It is one of those. It's not a low-level women's MMA fight. It's very high-level women's MMA here. But it's going to come down to some of those moments. If Aaron gets it down, it's going to come down to how much ground and pound Aaron can actually land on the ground. It's going to come down to, can Tyler mix in some submission attempts on the ground? Can Tyler land some big shots on the feet? It's going to be really, really close. I got Aaron Blanchfield by a 29-28 split decision. This fight could literally go either way. Rinya Nakamura and Fernie Garcia in the UFC's bantamweight division. I'm not as confident as the minus 700 that people are having this odds at. Fernie is 0-2 in the UFC. It's really good wins outside of the UFC. Knocked out Joshua Weems on the Dana White's Contender Series. He's only 31, same height, similar reach. Rinya is a better wrestler. He's a better striker. He's got more power. I believe he's better everywhere, but still minus 700 is kind of crazy. You never know if he's going to gas out. We don't really get to see him in those later rounds a lot. So, again, you never know how his cardio is going to hold up, but from all the things I've seen from Rinya Nakamura, he's literally better everywhere than Fernie Garcia, in my opinion. I do believe that he should be able to get a finish later on in this fight. I don't believe it's going to be one of those hitter-quitter round number 1 knockout wins with the first punch he throws, because the man has never been finished. As an amateur or as a pro, I've never seen a fight where Fernie Garcia has been knocked out, where he's been submitted, so I think it's going to be very tough for Rinya Nakamura to finish him, especially in round number 1. And I think in round number 2, he's going to land another big shot on the feet, and then he's going to be like, well, this dude's not going away from punches. Boom! Boom! Rear naked choke, Rinya Nakamura in round number 2. Giga Chikadze, Alex Caceres, in the featherweight division, literally the exact same age right there, similar height, similar reach, a little bit of an edge for Giga Chikadze in all 3 categories. He's coming off the loss to Calvin Kattar, but he was doing amazing before that, beating Omar Morales, Jamie Simmons, Cub Swanson, and Edson Barbosa, using just amazing striking in all of those fights. Alex Caceres is also a really good striker, but not as good as Giga Chikadze. If Alex Caceres wants to go out there and win this fight, it's going to have to look pretty similar to the Sung Woo Choi fight, where he's going to have to go out there, keep the striking as even as he possibly can, and mix in some takedowns, mix in some submission attempts, whatever the case may be. And that is how Alex Caceres is going to win. He's really good on the ground, very high-level jiu-jitsu and scrambling abilities when it does hit the mat. So that is what he's going to have to try to do in this fight. But I don't think it's going to, I don't think that's what's going to happen. And then Giga, in this, how long layoff? 1.5 year layoff has had to have worked on his wrestling, his grappling, and his takedown defense. And I believe this is going to be absolute banger, 3-round Muay Thai striking match. And if that's what it's going to be, obviously Giga Chikadze is the better guy. Should be a fun one in the featherweight division. I got Giga by a decision. Anthony Smith, Ryan Spann 2. This one I think is going to be a little bit different than the first fight. Magomed Ankalaev finished him. Johnny Walker was able to. And then, yeah, the most recent win for Anthony Smith 2 years ago against Ryan Spann. I believe Ryan Spann is going to go out there and knock out Anthony Smith in this fight in round 1 or in round number 2. I think Anthony Smith gonna look to get the fight to the ground yet again. Look to wrestle, to grapple against Ryan Spann. That is the main thing you gotta do when you're fighting a guy like Ryan Spann, is get the fight to the ground. Because, I mean, Anthony Smith submitted him last time, and he's coming off a loss to Nikita Krylov, where he was able to submit him as well. And that was, I believe, like a co-main event or a main card on Jan versus Dvalishvili. It was supposed to be a main event at one point, but yeah, I do believe if Ryan Spann is able to keep this one on the feet, which I believe he knows what happened last time, he's not going to want to go to the ground this time at all. I believe he keeps this one on the feet and strikes with Anthony Smith. And Anthony's getting older. His chin's kind of deteriorating a little bit. He's taking a lot of damage, especially by guys like Glover Teixeira, Magomed Ankalaev. Took a little bit of damage on Johnny Walker as well. I think that power of Ryan Spann is just on another level, if we're being honest here. So it should be a fun one in the light heavyweight division. But I do believe round number 1 or in round number 2, Ryan Spann, boom, catches the chin and knocks out Anthony Smith in this fight. Main events, rest in peace, Chan Sung Jung. I'm going to go Max Holloway, round number 3. Round number 4, TKO, due to the referee just... it's going to be similar to the Alexander Volkanovski fight, in my opinion, where the ref gets a standing TKO for Chan Sung Jung. Just Chan Sung Jung kind of wobbling a little bit all over the place. Max is just so far better. He is younger. He is taller. He's not as lengthy. Chan does have a very solid reach for the featherweight division at 72 inches. I mean, Max is very small, but he still lands a crazy amount of volume. I think Chan Sung Jung, if he wants to win this fight, which he's not, but if he wants to, he's going to have to try to mix in some wrestling and grappling in this fight against Max Holloway. But, you know, I don't think that's what's going to happen. I don't think he's going to be able to go out there and dominate with wrestling, get the takedowns and control it on the ground. Max Holloway is too good for that. His takedown defense is really legit, and his striking is obviously very legit. If we saw what he did against Calvin Kattar, it's going to be similar to that. But instead of it going to a decision where we're getting like 50-39s and stuff like that, I believe this one is just going to be a round 3 or round 4 TKO referee stoppage. I don't know if I would say it's going to be a fun one, because I do love Chan Sung Jung. I have a lot of respect for him. I don't know if I want to watch the fight. So I got Max Holloway by a TKO in round 3 or in round number 4. What do y'all think? Holloway, Chan Sung Jung. That is the full card prediction. I got Max Holloway winning. I got Ryan Spann by TKO. Giga Chikadze by a decision. Rinya Nakamura by round 2 submission. Aaron Blanchfield by a split decision. Junior Tafa round 1 TKO. Waldo Cortez Acosta by a decision. Garrett Armfield by TKO round 1 or round number 2. Mikhail Leshejik round 3 TKO. Rolando Bedoya unanimous decision. Billy Goff round 2 TKO. JJ Aldrich round 1, round 2 submission. And Sungwoo Choi by a decision. Some very, very fun fights on the card. Like and subscribe. We'll see you in the next one.